Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In recent chapters of One Piece, we were introduced to a character who will have great importance for Kuma's flashback. And this is quite a mysterious figure, but at the same time, easily decipherable due to the context presented to us. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the recent introduction of a character named Jinny, a character who could very well be Bonnie's mother, or even have a deeper connection with Dragon, and thus could be Luffy's unexpected mother. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and it keeps motivating us to make more content. If you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with your friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, in chapter 1092 of One Piece, we were presented with some very important events and information that could have some very big impact on this Egghead Island arc. And in this chapter, we were shown the continuation of the confrontation between Luffy and Kizaru, but there was a momentary draw between them. Alongside the battle between Kizaru and Luffy, we had another confrontation unfolding between the Gorosei Saturn and the rest of the Straw Hats, Vegapunk, and Bonnie. And this is a confrontation in which the Gorosei has a huge advantage. It was at this crucial point in the narrative that fascinating details about Kuma's past began to unfold, taking us back to an ancient event that occurred 47 years ago. In these flashbacks, we are introduced to Kuma's complex lineage, and he was born from the union between a father belonging to the mysterious Buccaneer race and a human mother. And this union between a giant and a human was the origin of the Buccaneer race. This was a race that had a very dark past and had a very tarnished name in the world, and legend had it that the Buccaneers had committed such an atrocious crime against the world that as a result, the race had faced imminent threat of extinction. Kuma's fate took a tragic turn from the moment of his birth, and news of his origin and race was leaked, sparking the dark interest of that powerful organization known as the World Government. Determined to eradicate the Buccaneer race, they sent agents to capture not only Kuma, but also his parents. And once he was captured, they were cruelly turned into slaves, a situation made worse for Kuma due to his great physical strength, which is a hallmark of his buccaneering heritage. We then observe a shocking turn of events with a particularly traumatic event when a celestial dragon ended up taking the life of Kuma's mother. And amid the devastation and despair, his father tried to console him, promising him that Nika, the sun god revered by so many races, would eventually save them. However, Kuma's hopes were crushed when another celestial dragon cruelly took his father's life, and this left him alone in a merciless world. So now, without parents, Kuma looked for ways to escape this slavery, waiting for the day when the sun god Nika would come to free him from his chains. In this harrowing and brutal context, two mysterious figures entered the story and completely changed the fate of young Kuma. However, before talking about these figures, let's talk about the context before they appeared in the text. 38 years ago, the Celestial Dragons decided to hold a macabre event on the isolated island known as God Valley. The place was devoid of any affiliation with the world government, and it was chosen to host this so-called human hunt, a sadistic ritual that took place every 3 years. And the sinister objective of this event was to eliminate all natives on the island, as well as any rebellious or troublesome slaves that didn't obey the orders of the Celestial Dragons. Like all of the other slaves, Kuma was taken from the island to participate in this event, and we don't know if he was prey or if he was just there to follow the orders of the Celestial Dragons. Even before this all took place, Kuma had thought he found a way to escape from the Celestial Dragons. However, his freedom was just an illusion and temporary, because right before he tried to escape, he was recaptured by other slaves that tried to hand him over to the cruel Celestial Dragons in order to gain their own freedom. During his capture, two mysterious figures emerged, and it looked like they were trying to intervene in order to save Kuma from a terrible fate that awaited him. One of them, in a resolute voice, proclaimed that Kuma was the highlight of this event, described as a child born of the Buccaneer race, possessing the blood of giants running through his veins. These words left Kuma confused, but even in the midst of all of his confusion, he kept his attention focused on these enigmatic figures, trying to understand the meaning of their actions and what they were doing. As the plot unfolded, these mysterious figures were revealed to be none other than Emporio Ivankov, a child slave just like Kuma, and alongside him, his sister Jinny, a previously unknown and unnamed character. Now, although we haven't learned much about her yet, Jinny does bear a great resemblance to Bonnie in the way that she acts and even eats. However, there's still a big possibility that this character also has some connection with Dragon. As you may already know, Ivankov is in quite a high position within the Revolutionary Army, and this indicates that Ginny could also have belonged to this same group if she were still alive. And her way of acting, especially eating, is so similar to that of Bonnie and even that of Luffy. Based on what we can speculate so far, Ginny was a young slave that was forced to participate in this cruel native hunting competition on God Valley, but somehow managed to escape along with her brother Ivankov. Another curious trait of Ginny's was, although she found herself in these very dark circumstances, she displayed a really positive attitude and an admirable trait of resilience in the midst of this difficult situation that they found themselves in at the time. Ginny also had some very distinct features, with freckles on her face and a missing tooth, features that made her distinctly recognizable, and her light, short, messy hair framed her face with bangs highlighting her determined eyes. In the panels where we see her, we see that she wore a sleeveless shirt, dark shorts, and light shoes, which was a simple outfit that contrasted with the complexity of her situation. But one of Ginny's notable features was her resemblance to Bonnie and even Luffy, especially when it comes to her appetite and the way she ate. The very first time we see her, she was eating meat, a gesture that is very reminiscent of the eating habits of the pirate Jewelry Bonnie. And furthermore, the strong emotional connection that Ginny shared with Emporio Ivankov, whom she affectionately called her older brother, demonstrates that they have a bond of blood, or at least a very deep regard. Now, though her appearance was limited to just one frame, the details provided about Ginny, along with her striking resemblance to Bonnie, strongly suggest the possibility that she is in fact the mother of the pirate Jewelry Bonnie. But because we know so little about Ginny, it even could go deeper, because she might not actually have a relationship with Bonnie, but instead could be related to Luffy. And this is something that would make sense because of the future connection that Dragon and Ginny could have. So the possible connection between Ginny and Kuma being Bonnie's parents, or even Dragon and Ginny as Luffy's parents, makes this relationship even more complex and full of questions about the reason for Ginny's disappearance and how important she might be to our story. If, in fact, Ginny is Bonnie's mother, it raises questions about how she might have managed to survive after the events of God Valley, because we'd wonder, where was she in the midst of this brutal manhunt? It also raises question about Kuma's fate after his capture, and it's a big point of interest because we have to wonder how he ended up obtaining that role of being a warlord of the sea, and even his subsequent transformation into a cyborg in the service of the world government, considering what the world government tried to do to him. On top of that, the revelation of Ginny as the possible mother of Luffy or Bonnie could further intensify the events that are going on Egghead Island right now, and even around the world. Now, Kuma is currently receiving a lot of focus in the recent chapters, which means that his past will be of great importance to our overall story and how the plot moves forward. This new layer of complexity in One Piece's plot promises to uncover some very deep secrets, and perhaps even create some emotional confrontations as Kuma's past is gradually revealed over these next several chapters. Now, the connection between Ginny and Bonnie would be much more plausible because of all of the great anger that Bonnie carries in her chest after seeing the sad past of her father Kuma, because he still possesses this knowledge, and Bonnie is going to focus all her anger on Saturn, seeking to eliminate that Gorosei. As these details continue to emerge over the next few chapters, Bonnie's quest for revenge against the world government, as well as her relationship with the Celestial Dragons and her own past, gain even more importance and complexity to our story. But more than that, the story behind Ginny and Kuma raises some extremely important questions about the mysterious event that happened on God Valley, because we had many important characters go to this island, including Roger, Garp, and all of the Rock's pirates. And it seems that what we thought originally happened on God Valley may be very different from what actually happened. All of these events that we're learning through these flashbacks will be extremely important and may even complement the stories of other characters. For instance, Shanks himself was found in a chest on that same island in that same event. So as we move forward, we can definitely expect a big development from this flashback. And there's going to be other events that we might be shown that'll have a great relationship with Kuma, Ginny, and other important characters in our story. And this mysterious relationship between these characters will be extremely important in just the overall narrative of One Piece. But for now, all we fans can do is wait for the next chapters to find out more about this mysterious character and what her connection is with the other important people within our story, in addition to learning what the outcome of this character was and what happened to Ginny after God Valley. But with all that said, we'd now love to know what you think about it, my friends. What do you think the connection is between Ginny, Kuma, and Dragon? Do you think Ginny could be that mysterious mother of Luffy's? Or is it more plausible that Ginny is Bonnie's mother, and that's the real reason why Bonnie is so furious with the world government. Also, what's your take on what actually occurred in this so-called God Valley incident? Was it just this human hunt reminiscent of that old famous movie, The Most Dangerous Game? Or was it something more sick and twisted? Because we know the Celestial Dragons are a very wicked bunch. And finally, where do you think Ginny is now? Do you think she made it out and helped establish the Revolutionary Army? Or is there more tragedy that we still get to learn about? Let us know what you think about all that in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video, we'd like to thank you all so much for watching, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.